देखिए यहाँ पर ये इंग्लिश ऐसे हो गया। इंग्लिश 100 A4 AD5 का यहाँ पर देखिए ADE का 145 का यहाँ पर देखिए ऐसे ये पार्ट 2 का। इसमें देखिए सबसे टाइप्स एंड फॉर्मेट्स की बात करते हैं। जब इंग्लिश ऐसे की बात करते हैं हम, देखिए इट इज टाइप्स एंड फॉर्मेट्स जो आपको है, इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट दैट द ऐसे फॉर्मेट इज करेक्ट एंड एस्थेटिक। देखिए दिस एंश्योर, यहाँ पे आपको दिस एंश्योर, देखिए दिस ensure that overall success of the project. A proper layout accounts for 10% of overall grade. Although formatting alone is not a determiner of good grades, it can make a difference between grades. The formatting helps make an essay more readable and trains a student to be attentive to detail and to follow fixed academic standards. This chapter outline importance of the correct layout and arrangement of a scholarly paper. This discusses important formatting aspect including the following. This discusses important formation aspect including the following. देखिए first is paper selection, second is correct use of margins, third is title page formatting, fourth is page numbering and paragraphs, fifth is spacing between lines indentation, fifth is spacing between lines and indentation, six is titles of books, magazines, newspaper or journals, seven is capitalization, eight is table of content, and ninth is end of essay and binding your paper. तो यहाँ देखो क्या कि इसमें देखो पेपर में जो यहाँ पर कहा गया द राइटर, देखिए द राइटर शुड यूज क्लीन शीट्स ऑफ गुड क्वालिटी पेपर, टाइप द टैक्स ऑन वन साइड और ओनली, डोंट डेकोरेट द शीट्स हैज इट इज इन एकेडमिक पीस ऑफ राइटिंग, कीप द टैक्स ऑफ योर पेपर डबल स्पेस्ड। देखिए यूज स्टैंडर्ड एंड अप्रूव्ड fonts, either Times New Roman or Arial. Font size 12. The font size and type vary according to the style followed, whether MLA, Harvard or APA. Margins. It is important to pay attention to what your instructor advises you. Margins vary according to the style of referring, APA, MLA, and Harvard. MLA format is most commonly used format. Normally, margins of the essay should be 1 inch, 2.5 centimeter at the top, bottom, left, and right side of each and every page. 1 equal to 14 types space exceptions is made for page numbers which are placed 1 by half inch. It means 1.27 centimeters from the top upper right hand corner. Plus it to the right margin title page variously. फिर आपको यहाँ पर देखिए क्या कि इसमें जो आपको कहा गया वेरियसली, देखिए यहाँ पर नॉर्मली ये से थोड़ी देखिए टाइटल पेज वेरियस स्टाइल, देखिए टाइटल पेज में यहाँ पर आपको आता है। इसमें जो आपको यहाँ पर टाइटल पेज के अंतर्गत कहा गया, देखिए वेरियस स्टाइल गाइड्स प्रोवाइड गाइडलाइंस ऑन ए टाइटल पेज। द MLA हैंडबुक प्रोवाइड्स ए जनरल गाइडलाइन ऑन रेफरेंसिंग एंड डॉक्यूमेंटिंग सोर्स इन केस नो स्टाइल इज specified. Always follow the guidelines set down by the teacher. For example, numbering of the first or second page, single spacing or double spacing, where to set the title in the center or left. Numbering page and paragraph. Numbering page and paragraphs. Keep the page consequently numbered with numbers put in the upper right hand corner. Flush it with the right margin and 1.5 from the top. It is suggested that you type your last name just before each page number so that page don't get misplaced. On page 4 of your essay, for example, your top right hand corner should show Mahesh. Use only Arabic numerals 1 2 3 4 5 and Roman 1 2 3 4 5 for the main body of the paper. Avoid decoration on the page. Don't use a period after the page number. Spacing between lines. To allow the teacher leave comments, keep the entire paper, keep the entire paper. एक मिनट देखिए यहाँ पर क्या, to allow the teachers leave comment, keep the entire paper double space, please don't forget to use 1 inch margins on all sides, and this is for your teachers comment too. Spacing देखिए यहाँ पर spacing between words, spacing between words. The writer should leave the writer should leave one space between words and one space after every comma, semicolon or colon. Traditionally, it is required to leave two space at the end of every sentence, whether the sentence ends with a period, a question mark, or an exclamation mark. However, nowadays leaving only one space after each punctuation mark is quite acceptable, but a space is not allowed before a punctuation mark. देखिए इंडेंटेशन की बात यहाँ की गई है. द राइटर्स टाइपिंग ऑन कंप्यूटर शुड इंडेंट देयर ऐसे विथ सेवन स्पेसेस और हाफ एन इंच. देखिए एट द बिगिनिंग ऑफ ईच पैराग्राफ सेट ऑफ कोटेशन शुड बी इंडेंटेड 10 space or 1 inch from the left margin. The exam instructor may give the candidate a choice to indent or not indent their paragraph, whichever one is chosen to use. It must be consistently followed throughout the essay. The writer who don't want to indent should start each paragraph fluid to the left margin. It is essential to double space between lines and quadruple space between paragraphs. The writer should indent a set of quotation 14 space or 1 inch from the left margins. देखिए यहाँ पर क्या कि टाइटल्स ऑफ बुक, मार्जिन्स, न्यूज़पेपर और जर्नल्स की बात यहाँ पर की गई है. द राइटर शुड अंडरलाइन द टाइटल्स ऑफ ऑल फुल लेंथ वर्क सच एज नॉवेल्स, प्लेज, बुक्स. फॉर एग्जाम्पल शेक्सपियर थिएटर, द राइटर नीड टू पुट टाइटल्स ऑफ शॉर्टर वर्क इन कोटेशन मार्क, न्यूज़पेपर, जर्नल, मैगजीन्स, आर्टिकल्स. Chapter of books, take a chapter of books or essays. For example, giving back to the earth, Western help make a difference in India. Full title, citation in the text. Every word other than articles a and the. देखिए द एग्जाम इंस्ट्रक्टर may give the candidate a choice to indent or not indent their paragraph, whichever one is chosen to use. It must be consistently followed throughout the essay. The writer who don't want to indent should start each paragraph fluid, fluid to the left margin. It is essential to double space between lines and quadruple space between paragraphs. The writers should indent a set of quotation 14 space or 1 inch from the left margins. अब देखिए यहाँ पर टाइटल ऑफ बुक्स, मैगजीन्स एंड न्यूज़पेपर और जर्नल्स. द राइटर शुड अंडरलाइन द टाइटल ऑफ a full length work such as novel, plays, books. For example, Shakespeare's theatre. The writer had need to put title of shorter works in quotation marks, newspaper, journals, magazine, articles, chapters of books or essays. For example, giving back to the earth, Western helps make a difference. The Western helps make a difference in India. For titles citation in the text. Every word other than article a and the preposition such as in or under, over, and conjunction such as and because, but however should be capitalized unless they occur at the beginning of the title or subtitle. For example, and no for something completely different. A head dog hospital. To understand other complex details on how to cite titles and quotations within titles, sacred texts, certain titles, exceptions to the rule, etc. The MLA handbook should be consulted. Writing an essay in all capital letters की बात यहाँ पर की गई है. देखिए यहाँ पर राइटिंग एन ऐसे, देखिए यहाँ पर क्या कि यहाँ पर जो कहा गया राइटिंग एन ऐसे इन ऑल कैपिटल लेटर्स, राइटिंग एन ऐसे इन ऑल कैपिटल, देखिए द राइटर शुड नॉट राइट द एंटायर टेक्स्ट इन कैपिटल लेटर्स एंड शुड कैपिटलाइज ओनली व्हेन नेसेसरी। अननेसेसरी, देखिए अननेसेसरी कैपिटलाइजेशन will unnecessarily capitalization will eventually lead to unwanted problems of reduced reader comprehension, slow reading speed, slow reading speed and consequently would cause irritation. Table of content, the table of content is not required for a short essay. However, for a long essay, a table of content relating each section to its corresponding page number should be helpful. Page number should be helpful. Should be helpful for the reader. A table of content comprises following section: introduction, body use, main section, heading, conclusion, summary, works cited or reference, and the corresponding page number where each section begins. End of the essay. An essay does not require any special word, phrase, or fancy symbol to mark its end. Rather, a period at the end of the last sentence marks the end of the essay. The importance of binding the essay. Staple the sheet of paper at the upper left hand corner. A paper clip could be used in case of unavailability of a stapler. The paper should neither be pinned or nor be folded. The candidate taking an important paper might have their paper sheets bound. Paper sheets bound, and they should not hand their essay in loose sheets, even if these are numbered and neatly placed in an envelope or folder. It is not an easy task to write an essay of an impeccable format and structure. It requires a great deal of practice. It might be very difficult initially for the students to correctly format the essay. However, due diligence and perseverance will help the student master essay formatting. Various authors ranging from university student to a professional essayist use different forms and style discussed as follow. देखिए cause and effect की बात है, हम देखिए cause and effect. The distinguished features of cause and effect essays are casual sense, connecting from a cause to an effect, careful use of language, and chronological or emphatic order. A writer using the rhetorical method must evaluate the subject, decide the purpose, study the audience, have a critical देखिए यहाँ पर क्या कि have a critical thinking about different causes or consequences, create a thesis statement, organize the parts, assess the language, and decide on a conclusion. Classification and division. The classification is termed has categorized the object into larger groups, whereas the breaking of a larger whole into a smaller segment is known as division. Compare and contrast. The characteristics of compare and contrast essays are the basis for a comparison between two objects. Points of comparison and emphasize upon the similarities between two or more similar objects, while contrasting emphasize upon the differences between two or more objects. The writers writing a compare and contrast essay need to determine their purpose, study their audience, analyze the basis and points of comparison, create their thesis statement, organize and develop the comparison, and identify a conclusion. Compare and contrast is organized in an emphatic Compare and contrast is organized in an emphatic order. The descriptive writing is characterized by employing the sensory details that include sight, sound, touch, smell, and taste to capture the attention of the readers. It appeals to the physical senses and use details that are appealing to a reader's physical, emotional, or intellectual sensibilities. The rhetorical choice to be considered when using a description are determining the purpose, judging the audience, developing a dominant impression, applying descriptive language, and organizing the description. Generally the description is organized in alphabetical order, though it can also be in chronological or emphatic order, keeping the scene in focus. This focus description uses various language tools such as connotative language, denotative language, figurative language, metaphor, and a similar to, and metaphor and simile to arrive at a dominant impression. One देखिए यहाँ पर क्या one university essay guide provide the definition of descriptive writing. Has descriptive writing essays that says what happened or what another author has discussed. It provides an account of the topic. A significant creative form of descriptive essay is lyric essay. And dialectic देखिए this form of essay is commonly used in philosophy. In the dialectic form, the writers create a thesis and argument, then create a counter argument against their own argument, and then develop a final and novel argument has a counter to the counter argument. The dialectic form provides the benefits of presenting the theme in a broader perspective while counting a possible flaw that may be present. यहाँ देखिए क्या कि एग्जाम्पलीफिकेशन की बात करते हैं। एग्जाम्पलीफिकेशन की बात यहाँ हम करते हैं। एग्जाम्पलीफिकेशन की बात करते इन एन एग्जाम्पलीफिकेशन ऐसे द राइटर मेक्स यूज ऑफ ए जनरलाइजेशन एंड एग्जाम्पल्स दैट आर बिलीवेबल, relevant and representatives, including anecdotes. Writers need to analyze their subjects, determine their purpose, study their audience, decide on specific examples, and organize all the parts together to present an argumentative essay. यहाँ देखिए क्या कि फैमिलियर की बात हम करते हैं। इन ए फैमिलियर ऐसे द एसेइस्ट डिस्क्राइब हैज इफ इट इज एड्रेसिंग ए सिंगल रीडर। ही स्पीक अबाउट हिमसेल्फ हैज वेल हैज ए पार्टिकुलर सब्जेक्ट अकॉर्डिंग टू एन फेडिमन द जनरेस हैड ए वाज द वाज द अर्ली 19th century and Charles Lamb was its greatest exponent. She also stated the family essay uses the characteristics of both critical essay using more brain than heart and personal essay using more heart than brain. देखिए in equal measures to provide a balanced view. देखिए history essay का generally name has a thesis. देखिए thesis essay present an argument on claim based on one or more historical events and provide evidence, argument, and reference in support of that claim. The text also provides clarification in support of the argument or claim made to the reader. देखिए narrative keeping its focus on the plot utilizes various tools such as flashback, flash to forwards, and transition that often lead to a climax. The writers creating a narrative take into account its purpose, study their audience, provide their point of view, use dialogue and organize the narrative chronologically. Critical is a form of an argumentative piece of writing that carry out an objective analysis of the subject matter or focus on to a single topic. The basic idea of the criticism is to provide the reader with an opinion either a positive or negative implication. Hence a critical essay requires a strong internal logic, research and analysis, and sharp structure. Critical essay requires sufficient evidence in relevance to the point made in the support of each argument. Economics. इकोनॉमिक्स की बात करें कि आपके इकोनॉमिक्स एंड इकोनॉमिक्स ऐसे इज द फॉर्म ऑफ ऐसे दैट कुड बी स्टार्टेड with either a thesis or a theme with either a thesis or a theme the course of instruction the course of instruction the course of instruction taken by it could be both it could be both it could be both narrative and descriptive. Writer can even make it an argumentative essay if the need arises. After the essay is introduced, the author need to make the best use देखिए the author need to make the best use of his ability to bring out the economic rationality associated with it to analyze it, evaluate it and draw conclusion. If the essay is presented in a narrative form, then the writer need to bring out each aspect of the economic puzzle to the reader in a way that makes it clear and understandable to him. The other logical structures, the structure of and the other logical structure. The structure of an essay can be organized in various forms. Its logical progression can also take many forms. Managing the movement of thoughts through an essay in an effective manner can have a significant impact on its overall on its overall relevance and its ability to impress. Numerous alternative logical structures for essays visualized as diagrams are available that could be easily implemented or adapted to construct an argument. देखिए अब मैगजीन और न्यूज़पेपर ऐसे इंपॉर्टेंस फॉर एम्प्लॉयमेंट, या देखिए मैगजीन्स और न्यूज़पेपर ऐसे इंपॉर्टेंस फॉर एम्प्लॉयमेंट. देखिए मैनी मैगजीन्स स्पेशली with an intellectual bent include essays such as the Atlantic and Harper's. Many of the essay types in various forms and styles are adopted in magazine and newspaper essay. For example, descriptive essay, narrative essay, etc. Some essays are also printed in the op-ed section in newspaper. Employment. देखिए यहाँ पे एम्प्लॉयमेंट एसेज प्रोवाइड डिटेल्स ऑफ experience in a certain occupational field and are used for applying jobs, especially government jobs in the United States. Similarly, for applying to certain US federal government position, essay known as knowledge, skills and executive qualification and require application to the federal government job opening in the United States uses a series of narrative statements are known as KSA or knowledge, skill and abilities. To determine the best applicants among several candidates qualifying for a job, KSA are used along with resumes. Each job vacancy announces the knowledge, skills, and abilities required for the successful performance of a position. KSA are concise and focus essay related to one's career and educational background that presumptively qualify one to perform the duties of the position being applied for. देखिए for applying to the senior executive service position within the U.S. federal government, a narrative statement known as executive core qualification or ECQ is necessary to produce. Similar to KSA, ECQ are used along with resumes to make choice for the best applicants among several candidates qualifying for a job. All the applicants applying to enter the senior executive service must demonstrate 5 executive core qualifications established by the Office of Personnel Management. देखिए forms of non-literary types ऐसे देखिए forms of non-literary types essays. देखिए visual arts. देखिए an essay in the visual arts is a preliminary drawing or sketch which provide the basis for the final painting or sculpture. Made has a test of the work's composition. And this meaning of the term like like several of those following originates from the word essay meaning of attempts or try. देखिए म्यूजिक इन द डोमेन ऑफ म्यूजिक ए सेट ऑफ पैसेज for orchestra based on the form and content of the music were presented by the composer Samuel Barber instead of any extra musical plot or story to guide the listener's ear. देखिए a film essay, also termed as cinematic essay, involves the evaluation of a theme or an idea instead of a plot. Has such or the film literally being a cinematic accompaniment to a narrator's reading an essay. From another point of view, an essay film could be interpreted as a documentary film visual basis along with a form of commentary that contain elements of self-portrait instead of autobiography. देखिए where the signature of the filmmaker instead of his life story is apparent. The cinematic essay use tones and editing styles to often fuse documentary fiction, fiction and experimental filmmaking. Though the genre is not defined properly, but it might include works of early Soviet parliamentarian like Rizga Walto and present-day filmmakers including Charles Marker, Eros Markan, The Thin Blue Line 1988, Michael Moore, Bowling for Columbine 2002, and Fahrenheit 9/11 2004. Morgan Spurlock, Super Size Me, a film of epic proportion, and Agents Wardha. Jean Louis Godard identifies his recent work has film essays. George Melis and Bertrand are the two filmmakers whose work was the antecedent to the cinematic essay. Millet's mixed actual footage with sorts of a recreation of the event of the 1902 coronation of King Edward VII to make a short film, The Coronation of Edward II, 1902. Brecht, a playwright, experimented with film and included film projection into some of his plays. Another essay film, F for Fake, released in 1974, was made by Orson Welles in his own pioneering style. The film dealt specifically with art for the Alamo de Horror, and generally with the themes of authenticity, deception, and fakery. An article from David Wings Gray, the essay film in action, stated that the essay film became an identifiable form of filmmaking in the 1950 decades and 1960 decade. He stated that since that time, the tendency of essay film is on the margins of the filmmaking world. The essay films are of peculiar, searching, questioning tone, which is between documentary and fiction, but without fitting comfortably into either genre. Gray notes that similar to written essay film tend to marry the personal voice of guiding narrator, often the director, with the wide swath of other voice. The University of Wisconsin cinematic website repeats some of Gray's comments. It calls a film essay an intimate and elusive genre that catches filmmakers in a pensive mood, ruminating on the margins between fiction and documentary in a way that is refreshingly inventive, playful, and idiosyncratic. Photography. The photographic essay refers to an attempt which covers a topic with a link series of photographs, be it purely photographic works to photographs photographs with caption or a small notes to full text essay with a few or many accompanying photographs. Both comes under photo essay. These can be in the form of none orders photographs to be viewed all at once or in an order chosen by the viewer, or sequential in nature, where the intention is to view them in a particular order. Though all photo essays can be considered as collection of photographs, but all collection of photographs are not photo essays. Photo essays generally address a certain issues or attempts to capture the character of place and events. अब हम आगे देखिए, आप जो कहा गया फाइव पार्ट्स एसेज एंड देयर एडवांटेज, 5 पार्ट्स एसेज एंड देयर एडवांटेज की बात यहाँ पर आपको की गई है। इसमें देखिए आपको क्या द 5 पार्ट एसेज ऑफन कॉल द परसुएसिव और आर्गुमेंटेटिव एसे इन एन एडवांस स्टेज ऑफ द 5 पैराग्राफ एसे। द 5 पार्ट एसेज इज more complex and accomplished, having roots in the classical rhetoric. Its major differentiating feature is that it is obtained after refinement of the body of the simpler 5 paragraph essay. In this type of essay, the names of 5 parts vary from source to source and are typically represented as पर इंट्रोडक्शन की बात है कि दिस सेगमेंट प्रेजेंट ए थीमेटिक ओवरव्यू ऑफ द टॉपिक एंड इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ द थेसिस। नारेशन देखिए दिस सेगमेंट प्रेजेंट ए रिव्यू ऑफ द बैकग्राउंड इन लिटरेचर टू फैमिलियराइज द रीडर टू द टॉपिक, आल्सो ए स्ट्रक्चरल ओवरव्यू ऑफ द एसे। फिर आपको आगे यहाँ पर कहा गया देखिए तीसरा देखिए एफर्मेशन की बात यहाँ पर की गई है। एफर्मेशन इन दिस सेगमेंट द एविडेंस एंड आर्गूमेंट इन फेवर ऑफ द थेसिस आर प्रोड्यूस। निगेशन की बात की यहाँ पर निगेशन इन दिस सेगमेंट द एविडेंस एंड आर्गुमेंट अगेंस्ट द थेसिस आर प्रोड्यूस। दिस ऑल्सो रिक्वायर आइदर रेपुटेशन और कंसेशन। Conclusion की बात है कि दिस सेगमेंट प्रेजेंट द समरी ऑफ द आर्गूमेंट एंड एसोसिएशन ऑफ द थेसिस एंड आर्गूमेंट विथ लार्जर कनेक्टेड इशूज। देखिए द 5 पार्ट एसेज इज लेस थेसिस ड्राइवन एंड मोर बैलेंस्ड एंड फेयर, हैज इट इंक्लूड द नारेशन एंड negation and its reputation or concession in comparison to the 5 paragraph essay in which the body is or affirmation rhetorically देखिए कंट्रास्टिव terms such as but, however, and on the other hand are used to show the transition from affirmation to negation and reputation or concession. Being purely formal, the 5 parts can be created and repeated at any length form a sentence and thought, and though देखिए यहाँ पर क्या though it would be a highly complex one to the standard paragraph or of a regular essay or to the chapter of a book, and even to separate books themselves, though each book while emphasizing a particular part would of necessity include the other parts also. Another form of 5 part essays consists of first introduction. It is about introducing a topic. An important part of this is the three prolonged thesis. First, body paragraph 1. Body paragraph 1. It explains the first part of the 3 प्रोनगेज थेसिस। सेकंड बॉडी पैराग्राफ 2 इट एक्सप्लेन द सेकंड पार्ट ऑफ द 3 प्रोनगेज थेसिस। थर्ड बॉडी पैराग्राफ 3 इट्स एक्सप्लेन द थर्ड पार्ट ऑफ द 3 प्रोनगेज थेसिस। 5 कंक्लूजन देखिए दिस पार्ट सम्स अप द पॉइंट्स एंड रीस्टेट द थेसिस। where first part refers to the introduction, the second part refers to the body, and the third part refers to the conclusion. The main emphasis of the five-part essay is in demonstrating the opposition and give and take of two arguments based on the formula of thesis plus antithesis synthesis. Thesis plus antithesis is called synthesis is equal to synthesis. Dialectic is the foundation of the five-part essay. A writer could also use into hook three sentence character three sentence thesis. देखिए बॉडी वन, देखिए आप बॉडी वन जो यहाँ पर कहा उसको समझिए। बॉडी वन जो आपके यहाँ पर है, देखिए बॉडी वन में जो टॉपिक सेंटेंस होगा, एविडेंस होगा, एनालिसिस वन होगा, एनालिसिस टू होगा, एनालिसिस थ्री होगा, फिर ट्रांजिशन होगा। फिर आपको एविडेंस टू के अंतर्गत एनालिसिस वन होगा, एनालिसिस टू होगा, एनालिसिस थ्री होगा, फिर कंक्लूडिंग सेंटेंस होगा। फिर आपको बॉडी टू के अंतर्गत क्या होगा, टॉपिक सेंटेंस होगा, एविडेंस वन होगा, एनालिसिस वन होगा, एनालिसिस टू होगा, एनालिसिस थ्री होगा और आपको ट्रांजिशन होगा। फिर आपको देखिए एविडेंस टू के अंतर्गत क्या होगा, यहाँ पर एविडेंस टू के अंतर्गत आपको एनालिसिस वन, एनालिसिस टू, एनालिसिस थ्री होगा, फिर कंक्लूडिंग सेंटेंस होगा। बॉडी थ्री के अंतर्गत क्या होगा, आपको टॉपिक सेंटेंस होगा, एविडेंस होगा, एनालिसिस वन टू थ्री होगा और उसका ट्रांजिशन होगा। फिर एविडेंस टू के अंतर्गत एनालिसिस वन टू थ्री होगा, फिर कंक्लूडिंग सेंटेंस होगा, फिर कंक्लूजन होगा। एंड देखिए एसेइस्ट शुड सम ऑफ ऑल देयर एलिमेंट्स एंड मेक देयर ऐसे सू एंड फिनिशेड। यहाँ देखिए आगे जो आपका आगे देखिए IAS एसेज अप्रोच एंड एनालिसिस बात की गई है। IAS एसेज अप्रोच एंड एनालिसिस। देखिए हम आपको IAS एसेज है अप्रोच एंड एनालिसिस की बात यहाँ पर की गई, उसको देखने का प्रयास कीजिए। IAS एसेज अप्रोच एंड एनालिसिस यहाँ पर आपको है। देखिए इसको यहाँ पर जो आपको कहा गया कि देखिए इट इज़ नेसेसरी टू, देखिए इट इज़ नेसेसरी टू हैव एन इन डेप्थ अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द कोर कॉन्सेप्ट ऑन विच दीज एसेज आर बेस्ड एंड ट्राई टू गेट टू द इनहेरेंट आइडिया। दीज ऐसे देखिए यहाँ पर क्या दीज ऐसे टॉपिक कैरी दीज देखिए यहाँ पर क्या कि दीज ऐसे देखिए यहाँ पर क्या दीज ऐसे टॉपिक कैरी इन ऑर्डर टू हैव अ जनरल अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ देयर सब्जेक्ट थीम्स। एग्जाम्पल्स ऑफ फ्यू प्रीवियस ऐसे टॉपिक वुड बी टेकन टू फिगर आउट द complicities inherent in these essays. First is should a moratorium be imposed on all fresh mining in travel areas of country. Second is preparedness of our society for India's global leadership role. Third is pro-traditional Indian philosophy to the great Buffett's model, a natural progress or a paradigm shift. The first essay should a moratorium be imposed on all fresh mining in tribal areas of the country. Throws open a difference of opinion and expect the candidate to solve the riddle. फिर आगे हम देखें क्या कि वन ऑन वन हैंड, फिर आपको यहाँ पर आपको देखिए क्या कि ऑन द अदर देखिए ऑन वन हैंड देखिए यहाँ पर क्या ऑन वन हैंड वी आर बाउंड बाय डेवलपमेंटल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज टू फाइंड, देखिए यहाँ पर क्या टू फाइंड आउट न्यूअर प्रोस्पेक्ट फॉर इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन बेस्ड ऑन चीप एंड एम्प्लॉय अवेलेबल रॉ मटेरियल्स टू बूस्ट आवर प्रोडक्शन फॉर द elimination ऑफ पॉवर्टी एंड हंगर दैट इन, देखिए यहाँ पर क्या डेट इन टर्न इम्प्रूव द लिविंग स्टैंडर्ड। द चैलेंजेस ऑफ इम्प्रूविंग द लिविंग standard of the 2/3 of the population can only be overcome by exploring the possibilities of rapid industrialization. The second 5-year plan was the envision of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, a great visionary statesman and one of the founding fathers of our nation. Hence, it becomes all the more necessary to mine the mineral-rich places that are often near plateaus and hilly areas. However, it is to be kept in mind that these places are inhabited by our primitive tribes. They represent the rare heritage of our ancient culture, values, and practices that have gradually diminished to become endangered today and era and are on the verge of extinction. Preserving them and their interest in the preserving them, and their interest is our national moral and human responsibility. Moreover, देखिए यहाँ पर क्या है कि इसमें जो कहा गया तो मोर ओवर दे है, देखिए मोर ओवर दे हैव नथिंग टू डू विथ आवर एम्बिटियस डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट हैज द फ्रूट्स ऑफ डेवलपमेंट हार्डली रीच दैम, hence confronted with its sophisticated situation, a mature, balanced, intelligent and innovative approach is needed to tackle both these critical and important issues in equal measure. At the same time, significant attention has to be paid while expressing opinion in support of and against any of these two needs, as these are very delicate and sensitive issues. Hence the need of the hour is to take what Buddha preached, a middle path, or Aristotle's golden mean of the two. Of the two, that is granting the permission of mining to only those areas where the mobilization and displacement of these naturally habituated tribes is low, and where they could be provided similar alternate habitat to feel at home even after their displacement. Though our previous experiences of displacement failed to meet our expectation and the interest of these tribes, but we can learn and identify the possible areas of their world and of their vulnerability out of those experiences. The three categories can be identified. First, a special case where travelers have a unique habitat with no alternate options. Second, where the displacement options are available, and three, where they agree to adapt to the mainstream development brown lifestyle. For example, few areas of north eastern state regions falling under the first category would not be suitable for mining consideration, while the other two cases may allow mining, but with utmost care and precaution. Therefore, it can be concluded that a clear-cut order banning all fresh mining activities in tribal areas of the country shall be in contravention to our development strategy, which forms the basis of our planning and policies. Thus, देखिए यहाँ पर क्या कि देखिए यहाँ पर क्या दज केयरफुल कंसिडरेशन शुड बी गिवन टू आर्गू एंड कंक्लूड ए मिडिल पाथ दैट इज बेस्ट सुटेड. ए कैंडिडेट हैविंग साउंड knowledge in the above domain can easily fetch marks ranging from 100 to 140. द सेकेंड ऐसे की बात यहाँ पर हम करते हैं. देखिए यहाँ पर क्या द सेकेंड ऐसे देखिए यहाँ पर क्या प्रिपेयर्डनेस ऑफ आवर सोसाइटी फॉर इंडियाज ग्लोबल लीडरशिप रोल इज समथिंग दैट कैन बी एंटिसिपेटेड हैज अ टॉपिक preferred. देखिए यहाँ पर क्या has a topic preferred by all types of students, including the students of history, sociology, public administration, literature. देखिए यहाँ पर क्या literature and philosophy. All the students have enough space to accommodate their ideas and reveal a newer dimension to it. This essay provide immense scope. A survey they found that this essay is preferred by over 80% of the students, as it helps them in identifying and connecting their studies and understanding of India. Moreover, देखिए moreover यहाँ पर जो है the selection of this essay require one to have a deep understanding of Indian society and its progress, along with the vision of India as a global leader. Since the very ancient times, the prosperity, spirituality, well-being and welfare-based governance of India गवर्नेंस ऑफ इंडिया, देखिए गवर्नेंस ऑफ इंडिया, देखिए मेड इट रिनोवेट वर्ल्ड वाइड हैज द वर्ल्ड ग्लू और द वर्ल्ड रीडर द सोसाइटल, देखिए द सोसाइटल स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ इंडिया विथ मोर देन 5000 ईयर्स और रिकॉर्डेड हिस्ट्री कैन बी डिवाइडेड, देखिए यहाँ पर क्या कि कैन बी डिवाइडेड इंटू एंशिएंट मेडिवल एंड मॉडर्न एंड कंटेम्पोररी पीरियड ड्यूरिंग ऑल दीज पीरियड्स, देखिए ड्यूरिंग ऑल दीज पीरियड, देखिए ड्यूरिंग ऑल दीज पीरियड्स द इंडियन सोसाइटी विटनेस डेवलपमेंट इन 3 dimensions, namely first spiritual, देखिए फर्स्ट स्पिरिचुअल, सेकेंड साइकिक, देखिए सेकेंड साइकिक और एटीट्यूडनल, देखिए सेकेंड साइकिक और एटीट्यूडिनल एंड थर्ड इज फिजिकल, फिजिकल, देखिए फिजिकली ए डेवलप्ड सोसाइटी इज known to be that which fulfill the basic amenities of its people, provide them a decent standard of life and empower them with prosperity. The fast moving cars, aeroplanes, space shuttle, computer machines, mobile and internet-based satellite communication, internet-based satellite communication, etc. देखिए facilitating the humankind nowadays reflect our physical growth in a good light. Nowadays, plenty of Nobel Prize are on every year. Plenty of Nobel Prize are on every year. Mentally, the viewprint of young generation seems for better and coherent than that of older generation. Thus, in the in the terms of mental aspect of a significant leap is taken by the human society. The features of a spirituality advanced society are its openness, liberal thinking, and universalistic aptitude that reflect highest degree of human rationality and scientific temper instead of superstition, bigotry and all conventions. In such a society, people have feeling of brahmanhood within themselves, considering themselves part of a united family, and associate themselves with one universal god. The age all values of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam and सर्व कल्याण भव एंड सर्वम कल एक मिनट रुकिए एंड सर्वम कलविदाम ब्रह्म एंड सर्वम Khalvidam Brahma etc. Reflect the prevalence of such a spiritual practice in ancient India. A society incorporating all of 3 dimensions in a balanced state can only claim it to be an all-round development society. Has the physical and psychic level of development with which each and every development effort involve a very critical risk of evolving their negative counterparts also. For example, the development of a fast moving car at a physical level also bring with it the simultaneous risks of several severe accidents. Similarly at the psychic level, though plenty of Nobel Prize are on every year, but there has been rise in case of various mental disorder also. In present times negative tendencies such as frustration, anxieties and suicide attempts have increased. देखिए यहाँ पर क्या have increased many folds, hence it can be seen that the physical and psychic levels of development यहाँ पर देखिए levels of development carry them their negative counterparts also. Only the spiritual only the spiritual development does not have any negativity associated with. Therefore these three levels are linked together in a complex relationship which have to be brought to exist in a harmony to give the true sense of a developed society. Society. और देखिए यहाँ पर since the ancient times, Indian society is said to practice a spirituality that was followed with a strong foundation. Even in the medieval times, refined with higher standard of values, ethics, and morality. The social consciousness was characterized with confidence. People believe in themselves and psychically देखिए यहाँ पर psychically है and psychically the society was strong and the people were able to meet their needs and requirement and physically too the society had abundant wealth to take care of its people. The living standard of people was remarkably good and they were satisfied with it. The medieval period in Indian society during the period of the Delhi Sultanate and the Mughal witnessed a little deterioration in the physical well-being of its people, but overall the society was able to manage the intricate balance amongst the three levels. However, a great deal of harms. A great deals of harms to the interest of people in India and its societal structure was done in the modern period during the period of European invasion. That resulted into British rule and colonization of India. This was done in two levels. This was done in two levels. This was done in two levels, physical levels and psychic level. Physically the British followed the policy of drain of wealth and put all their effort to exploit, extract and export Indian wealth to England to suit their selfish interests. They exploited the very structure of Indian economy, trade, commerce and occupation of the people without even caring about the grave consequences that flowed in the form of long-term destruction because of their lunatic actions. देखिए यहाँ पर जो कहा गया है कि साइकिकली टू दे वर एबल टू इन्फ्लिक्ट डैमेज टू द एटीट्यूड ऑफ द सोसाइटी टू सच एन एक्सटेंट दैट इंडियंस लॉस्ट फेथ एंड बिलीव इन देयर एबिलिटी. This caused a remarkable loss to the Indian society and it needs time to heal and revive the society. Hence the contemporary Indian society is comprised of people who underwent and physically and psychic exploitation for over 2.5 centuries. देखिए यहाँ पर क्या कि however even the alien intrusions could not destabilize them from spirituality. Hence during all these periods of crisis, the base of Indian society in the form of spirituality remained intact. यहाँ देखिए remained intact. Post independence a strong foundation laid by the visionary leadership of Pandit Nehru, Mahatma Gandhi, Vallabh Patel, Dr. Ambedkar etc. led to the present form of governance based on modern principles of democracy, socialism and secularism. Our constitution very well incorporate all these principles and enjoy the privilege of being one of the largest written constitution in the world. The solid foundation laid by our constitution have resulted in providing a strong base to the Indian society to become self-reliant, self-reliant in food, grain production and most of its basic needs. In the present scenario, the country is widely recognized as one of the fastest growing economy in the world and emerging as a leader on many fronts. Even the US President Obama acknowledged that when India speaks, the world listens. And in 1960 decade followed by a series of famines where when our late Prime Minister Srimati Indira Gandhi went to USA to speak help for food, grains and other economic needs, she was made to wait half an hour in the presidential corridor. यहाँ देखिए फिर आपको wait half an hour in the presidential corridor to meet the US president. In the present scenario, the situation has changed to such a level that देखिए such a level that the US President Barack Obama, Mr. Obama, came to India and sought employments for its people. Today, India is playing a leadership role in the international organizations, including ASEAN, SAARC, G20, Basic, 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 IBS, etc. Moreover, India has been given an observer status in the other organization other organization like G8, SCO, EU, etc., which portrayed the significant role India plays its participation and the respect gained by its the and respect and यहाँ पर क्या कि and respect gained by it in the international देखिए यहाँ पर क्या in the international forums देखिए forums India adopted the harmonious and peaceful coexistence principles of non-aligned movement now based on India's ancient value system of सर्वजन हिताय सर्वजन हिताय देखिए सर्वजन हिताय हित चाहे सर्वजन हित चाहे and वसुधैव कुटुंबकम it evolved as a result of Indian societal structures and has provided an alternative to the polarized world that followed immature immature and sentimental principles of polarization during the Second World War. India played a significant role in the formation of the UN even before it achieved independence. Many of the UN institutions are based on Indians' age-old principle of humanitarianism and universalism, of which India is also the founding member. अब यहाँ देखिए क्या thus physically India is able to revive itself within a very short span of time after independence. Present India has registered itself as the second fastest growing economy of the world. This has led to a boost in the psychological status of Indian people, reflecting growing social awareness and confidence in society. Nowadays Indians have regained the sense of belief and pride in being an Indians. This reflects a great sign of improvement the Indian society is going through. The economic development, prosperity of the people, and international position held by its people show the readiness of Indian society for betterment in all spheres of life. The living standard of Indian society has improved in all these fronts. Few social evils such as poverty and unemployment, mass scale hunger, malnourishment, ignorance, illiteracy, and other forms of inequities that still exist in the present society can be eliminated in the future with good development figures, successful functioning democracy, education, and good governance. All these development indicate that India would be able to regain its status of global leader in the times to come. देखिए has it is the only country with a social setup having a harmonious balance in all the three aforementioned देखिए AFOREMENTI देखिए एक बार फिर से देखिए यहाँ पर एफोर हम क्या देखिए aforementioned यहाँ पर जो आपको कहा गया aforementioned इसमें देखिए aforementioned fundamental pillars that form the basis of an ideal society. A relatively good essay could be turned out by elaborating few of these aspects combined with logical argument. This essay becomes an obvious choice as a student well versed in these basic aspects of society could get marks in the range of 100 to 145. The third essay topic from traditional Indian philosophy to the engaged Buffett's model, a natural progress or a paradigm shift is more of a philosophical tone. 2. To attempt this essay, one should have adequate knowledge of the difference that lie in the Indian practice of paropkar and the contemporary Western practice of philanthropy. Thereafter, one is assumed to provide comments on whether philanthropy in practice today is a natural progress or a paradigm shift. देखिए before taking a position, the essayist should elaborate upon these two practice, then should logically conclude the topic. The concept of philanthropy in India was called as paropkar, that is per prasupkar, which means service to others. Therefore देखिए आप क्या कि therefore philanthropy was considered has service or duty to perform whether one had enough wealth or little wealth. देखिए the people disturbing their money or wealth would consider देखिए यहाँ पर क्या would consider themselves indebted to person receiving their money and never viewed themselves obliging to the needy or to the beneficiary. देखिए राजा हरिचंद्र भरथरी, राजा भोज Asukitisa are some examples of the king who testify this system of philanthropy that was prevalent in India since the time immemorial. In present time, philanthropy in practice is a Western adaptation influenced by this system. Most of the Indian wealthy people who have become billionaire very recently are following the Western philanthropists like Bill Warren Buffett and Melinda Gates. The widespread fame and recognition that comes with this practice motivate these multi-billionaires. Thus, most of the Indian philanthropists in their eagerness to transform themselves as a modern Western man get drawn into the gaudy power of Westernization and get distracted between the two. Modernization does not mean Westernization, and is instead a mindset based on the principle of democracy, socialism, equality, secularism, freedom, and universalism. Hence, the practice of philanthropy nowadays by Indians who recently turned rich. Turned rich cannot be called as a natural development but a paradigm shift. No, enough light has been thrown on core of the issues, and one can always make use of his her vision and understanding to further elaborate on the topic. One can put relevant facts and figures in a meaningful ways to make its more substantive. Hence, this essay requires more of philosophical knowledge than factual knowledge or something learnt from books. A well-written essay on this topic can fetch marks in the range of 100 to 140, and thus we can see that main examination nowadays has become very competitive, similar to the situation that we undergo in our daily walk of life in the present scenario. A comprehensive understanding of Indian society, its culture, people, practice, and philosophies is a must for an individual who want to compete in the exam. Writing on some of these topics or in similar issues and getting oneself evaluated is the best way. Is the best way to prepare for essay writing. The importance of essays should not be taken lightly. These could be decisive in changing the rank and portfolio of a candidate and making it to the final list of successful candidate. अब यहाँ पर एक खास बात जो कहा है उसको देखिए, इस चीज़ को देखिए फिर हम यहीं तक रखते हैं. पार्ट 6 जो है वो हम अगले बार वीडियो में करेंगे.